First things first, we want to empty as much as we can out of the room. Next, you want to make sure you cover your surface. You want to make sure you remove all switch plates from the walls. It's very important that you prep your walls correctly. If you have holes, dents, cracks, you could just paint over it, but it's really not going to look great at all. So you want to take the time to fill them with lightweight spackle. Once your spackle is dry, you can then go ahead and just start sanding the wall. I like to use a 220 grit sandpaper with a sanding pole. It will help save a lot of time. Unless you have a steady hand, you want to go out and get yourself a roll of painter's tape to mask off any areas where we don't want paint to hit. You want to make sure when you're applying the tape to overlap your strips and firmly press down, so not to allow any paint to seep under. When selecting paint, there are so many different sheens. What do you use? I like to use washable matte, for the simple fact that no matter how bad your walls are, how imperfect they are, it's always going to look great. I selected Radiant Orchid. It's color of the year, my new favorite color, and I've just been dying to put it on my wall. If your paint's been sitting there for a while, you want to make sure you stir it to ensure color accuracy. And then you want to make sure you have a painter's tray and a separate container, slightly smaller, to cut in your walls. While we're cutting in our walls, we want to make sure we load the roller so it can start saturating for a little while, and covering it with plastic so it doesn't dry out. I'm just going to start by making sure my tape is pressed firmly into the wall before I start painting. I'm going to load my brush and start applying the paint away from the tape, and then I will work my way into the tape. You don't want to take a fully loaded brush and put it directly on the tape, because then it could just seep under, and we don't want that. Once you're done cutting and before you start rolling, you want to wrap your brush in plastic. This will save it from drying out. So here's the fun part where we can actually see the paint on the wall. I'm just going to start by loading my roller with paint, and we can start rolling. I'm going to show you the way that I like to do it. I like to work in small, manageable sections, creating a series of V or W strokes, moving the paint up and down and just blending and overlapping. And once you start to feel like there's no more paint on the roller and you're struggling, that means it's time to reload. And once again, moving top to bottom, working in a manageable section, creating a series of V or W strokes, blending the paint, and just overlapping the sections. The key is to always try to keep a wet edge, to keep a nice, consistent, streak-free look. Once you have one, which is top to bottom, you can then just kind of go over it and just smooth out the surface. Just make sure when you get to the top, you actually release the roller from the wall so you don't have any marks. And you just do this in a very light way. So this is it. This is my beautiful Radiant Orchid on my wall. It's going to dry darker. You want to wait 2 to 4 hours before giving it a second coat. A couple things you want to remember: to remove the blue tape while it's still wet. If you wait till it's dry, you might struggle a little more and need a utility knife to remove it. If there's something you want to see, please leave a comment below. I'd love to make a video on it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you soon on Blank Canvas.